Welcome to the City of Molalla Planning Commission meeting for June 3rd. I'm going to call this meeting to order, and if you please join me in the flag salute. Pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you all. Audience members, we request that you silence your cell phones and not conduct side conversations during the meeting. Thank you in advance. Roll call, please. We'll start with Clarissa.
Associate Planner Clarissa Davis.
Assistant City Manager Matt Corthell, present.
Commissioner Ricky, present.
Commissioner Potts, present.
Commissioner Ansel, present.
Commissioner Eaglebow, present.
Commissioner Sharp, present.
Commissioner Nellis, present.
Engineering Section Manager present.
City Recorder Christy Teets, present.
All right. Currently, we do not have any other presentations and such. Moving to the consent agenda, may I have a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented for the minutes from last meeting?
Yes, I motion to approve the consent agenda from last month as written.
I second.
Second. All right. Christy, will you please call the vote?
Certainly. Commissioner Ricky.
Aye.
Commissioner Potts.
Aye.
Commissioner Ansel.
Aye.
Commissioner Sharp. Aye. Commissioner Ornelas.
Aye.
Chair Eaglebear.
Aye.
Thank you. Vote passes 6-0.
Moving on to public comment. Public comment, citizens are allowed for up to 3 minutes to present information relevant to the city but not listed as an agenda item on the agenda. Prior to speaking, citizens shall complete a comment form and deliver it to the city recorder. Planning Commission does not generally engage in dialogue with those making comments but may refer to the planning manager. Complaints should first be addressed at the department level prior to addressing the Planning Commission. Christy, are there any public comment submissions for this evening?
None this evening, Chair.
All right, thank you. Moving into public hearings, so we are going to have a public hearing on a self-storage facility with proposed truck and trailer rentals. Okay. Start the public hearing. Now is the time set for public hearings to consider a consolidated quasi-judicial land use application. The application's SDR 01-2026, CUP 01-2026, ADJ 01-2026, and ADJ 02-26 are for a site design review, conditional use permit, and 2 adjustments for a new self-storage and truck rental use at Lot 3 and 4 of the industrial subdivision addressed at 545 Oregon Highway 211. Now we will proceed with the quasi-judicial land use public hearing, starting with an introduction to the procedures for the hearing. I will introduce the applicable and substantive criteria upon which each case will be decided. Our Associate Planner, Clarissa Davis, will provide a staff report. When the staff report has been presented, I will open the public hearing to public testimony. Members of the public who want to testify are asked to sign in and indicate that they will testify on the sign-in sheet. Come up to the podium when called and give their name, address, and city of residence for the record before they testify. We are asking for your address so that we can notify you of the city's final decision. If you have any written testimony or other evidence to submit, please give that to staff so it can be entered into the record. When public testimony has been concluded, I will close the public hearing and open Planning Commission discussion and deliberation. After the commission has deliberated, we will need a motion to approve, modify, or deny the application. Are there any questions among the commission about the process? Seeing none. Oregon land use law requires several items to be read into the record at the beginning of a quasi-judicial public hearing. Conflicts of interest, ex parte contact, and bias. The commission is required to disclose any conflicts of interest, ex parte contact that we may have with the land use application or applicant. This is whether we have any financial or other personal interest in a proposal, and whether we have spoken with anybody or have other information about a proposal gathered outside of this hearing. Also, commissioners may only participate if they can do so without undue bias, either for or against an application. Do any commissioners wish to make any disclosures? Seeing none. Are there any challenges from the audience as to conflicts of interest, ex parte contacts, or bias related to any member of the commission? Seeing none. Required statements. The applicable procedural and substantive criteria upon which SDR 01 2026, CUP 01 2026, ADJ 01 2026, and ADJ 02 2026 will be decided are found in Molalla Municipal Code sections 17-4.2.050, 17-4.4.040, and 17-4.7.030. Your testimony, arguments, and evidence must be directed towards these criteria or other criteria in the comprehensive plan or development code that you believe apply per ORS 197.763, Section 5B. Failure to raise an issue accompanied by statements or evidence sufficient to afford the decision maker and the parties an opportunity to respond may preclude appeal of decision on this application based on that issue per ORS 197.763, Section 5C. Failure of the applicant to raise constitutional or other issues relating to proposed conditions of approval with sufficient specificity to allow the local government or its designee to respond to the issue precludes an action for damages in circuit court per ORS 197.796, Section 3B. I now open the public hearing for consolidated application SDR 01 2026, CUP 01 2026, ADJ 01 2026, and ADJ 02 2026 at 6:38 p.m. I call on Associate Planner Clarissa Davis to present the staff report for the first application. Ms. Davis?
Thank you, Chair Eaglebear. I have this slide up in case anyone wants to access the staff report, but I believe that you all have it on your screens, and I believe that you all were sent it beforehand. So I'm going to slide on right through this. One thing to note, and you may note that this is different, is that we are now redacting applicant information on these public packets. It is still public record, and should anyone want to access that information, they may do so by creating a public records request with the City Recorder's Office. And the reason for this is that we've been having a really high increase in scam attempts, and unfortunately one of our applicants did fall for one of that. So this is actually advice from the American Planners Association, and we are hoping to make it more smooth for everyone who interacts with our office with less concern for uncredible emails. Moving right along then, as was mentioned, this consolidated application is for a new self-storage and truck rental facility associated with the address 545 Oregon 211/West Main Street. It is a part of the subdivision 01-2024, the Molalla Industrial Park subdivision, and it will be on lots 3 and 4 of that subdivision. You've all probably seen the staff report. Cat's kind of out of the bag. This is for a U-Haul facility. So we've got one of our applicants here and our engineer here as well. They're going to answer some questions and give some context for you all later, but this is for a U-Haul. A little bit of housekeeping. Staff officially submit the written staff report and all exhibits into the meeting record. So application overview. There's that zoomed in of that plat there. That's lots 3 and 4. We've got Dixon Avenue on the side there and Main Street right below. The applicant is seeking to establish land use approvals for this new self-storage and truck and trailer rental site. Anytime you get new development here in the city, you need to go through that site design review. That's very standard. The conditional use permit was triggered by the use designation, automotive sales and rental, includes motorcycles, boats, recreational vehicles, and trucks. So that's why they also needed that conditional use permit. Additionally, they've got those 2 adjustments. The applicant applied for those adjustments for the window transparency requirements on non-residential buildings. The adjustment is a 20% deviation from that set standard, and they've applied to have those adjustments because they didn't feel that windows were compatible with that self-storage use. All right, so here's that site location zoomed out with that map right there. It is at the intersection of Dixon Avenue and Oregon 211, and it is that lot 3 and 4. Oh, one more thing about the adjustments. They applied for 2 adjustments because it is 2 lots. One of the adjustments criteria is that you can only have 1 lot per adjustment. And so we spoke with the applicant about potentially going through a property line adjustment or a lot consolidation to make the 2 lots 1 lot, or this other opportunity of just applying for 2 adjustments. And the applicant chose to apply for 2 adjustments to address the fact that there are 2 lots associated with this project. All right, this consolidated application was submitted on March 4th, 2026. And after the applicant submitted some additional materials, it was deemed complete on April 6th, 2026. Public notice for this application was done in accordance with Molalla Municipal Code for the Type 3 procedure. It was posted on the web on April 30th. It was mailed to interested parties and public agencies on April 24th. It was posted in the Herald Independent on May 6th, and it was posted on the property on May 7th. As of this public hearing, the city has received no comments on this application. Here's that approval criteria. Chair Eaglebear read that off for us. This consolidated application was reviewed for site design review criteria, conditional use permit criteria, as well as adjustment criteria. And those numbers there on the left are where you can find those criteria in the Molalla Municipal Code. All right, so this is an industrial zoned property, a part of an industrial subdivision. So lots of surrounding industrial zoning. All of that purple is industrial zoning. Some of it's light industrial, some of it's heavy industrial. In the upper left hand quadrant there is some residential zoning. And then to the south of this property across Oregon 211 is some general commercial zoning as well. And that green part right there is Rotary Park. So it also is across from some public and semi-public zoning. So the Molalla Industrial Park subdivision, which potentially as of like this past week is finally getting recorded with the Clackamas County Recorder's Office, which is really, really exciting, is this subdivision process was to make these shovel-ready industrial lots. And as a part of that, that applicant who went through that industrial park subdivision process is conducting improvements, both to Oregon 211, West High Street to the north of this subdivision, Dixon Avenue, which is directly adjacent to this project site, as well as to the new privately created street, Wittenberg Ave, which is right to the east of this project site. I drove by it today. Existing conditions look pretty much like this right now. There's a couple big pipes on that site as they're working to get the infrastructure ready. But as I was saying, these lots are being made shovel ready so that applicants can come in and quickly and easily develop these lots into, well, on the scale of a development, but more easily develop these lots into usable industrial spaces. All right, taking a look at the site plan here. To orient you all, the building is actually in the lower quadrant of this site plan. It is that white rectangle. It is about almost 43,000 square feet, and it is demarked by 1. This site plan also has 2 site accesses, one from the private drive Wittenberg Ave on the right-hand side of that screen, and one onto Dixon Avenue on the left-hand side of that screen. So that'll be useful for, truck and trailer turning movements. They've got 2 accesses onto that site. Additionally, as you can still see, once again, there are those 2 lots there. We had lots of conversations up front, both with the applicant and with Clackamas County Building Department. Can you build a building across a lot line? And the answer is yes. The applicant, I was concerned about that going in, but the answer is yes. The applicant would just need to record a deed with Clackamas County stating that the 2 lots would remain together in perpetuity, or would need to remove that lot line. So they have options going forward for how to actually get this thing built, but there are a couple things that they'll need to complete in order to get those building permits from Clackamas County Building Department. Additionally, this site has a loading dock to help with ease of accessing the self-storage facility. It's got customer parking, a building entrance both to the north of the building on that north side, as well as on the side that fronts Oregon 211. And then it has pedestrian walkways from Oregon 211 as well as from Wittenberg Ave to the building. All right, architectural renderings. If you see this, and as you saw some of these images, I'm sure for people who are familiar with U-Haul and their branding, that this really triggers that right away. So this is what would be seen when you are driving towards Woodburn, and then this is what would be seen when you are driving east towards Estacada. Next, we'll dive into some elevations. The top elevation here is to the north. That is going to be oriented internally to the site and oriented towards the parking lot. There's that customer entrance there. We've got some staff entrances as well as some loading areas. That south elevation is what will face Oregon 211 and be seen from people who are driving along that main street there. Additionally, you can see they've got their proposed sign area. The applicant chose not to apply for signage at this point in time and understands that they will need to apply for signage subsequently. Next, we've got our east and west elevations. That east elevation is on the top. That is what will be seen when you are driving towards Estacada. And then the bottom, the west elevation, that's what will be seen when you are driving. I think I flipped that in my head.
Yeah.
The east elevation is what will be seen when you're driving towards Woodburn, and the west elevation is what will be seen when you're driving towards Estacada. All right, transportation analysis. The transportation analysis was done by the applicant's engineers, Pace Engineering, and we actually have the applicant's engineer here tonight. And the applicant submitted a transportation analysis letter to supplement the traffic impact analysis that was completed as part of the Sub 01-2024 Industrial Molalla Industrial Park subdivision. One note on the transportation analysis: the applicant is being conditioned to include the project's expected impact on the Leroy and Oregon 211 proposed signal, as well as to pay the proportionate share of the signal construction costs for how much this project would impact that signal. So that is going to be conditioned as part of this application and is something that still needs to be completed. All right, highlights from the conditions of approval. I will note this is an industrial zone, and a self-storage facility and as well as truck rental is a pretty light use to have in an industrial zone, and so staff did not see the need to condition heavily because it felt very natural and it felt like a good use of the site. All right, first one, this is kind of crossing your T's and dotting your I's. They need to record the final plat with Clackamas County before building permit approval. I believe that is like very, very close to being completely done. I think that the final plat is with the Clackamas County Recording Office, and we are waiting for that receipt that it has officially been recorded. Condition 2 is that they will need to ensure that all emergency access, building, and fire code standards are met. Typical. They will also need to obtain all required building permits and occupancy approvals from Clackamas County. And after this, we're digging into their site plan a little bit more specifically. The applicant will need to clearly mark driveways with contrasting pavement materials for pedestrian walkways. That is to meet standards within the Molalla Municipal Code. Additionally, they will need to install walkways that are at least 6 feet wide per Public Works standards. On the photometrics plan, the lighting poles were 22 feet tall. Our maximum is 20 feet. So the applicant will need to alter the lighting poles to only be 20 feet tall. Additionally, the applicant is required to include bicycle parking per the Molalla Municipal Code. Next is that they are also required to provide canopy coverage extending at least 5 feet for 75% of the pedestrian walkway along the northern elevation of the proposed building and over the entryway on the southern elevation of the building. They will also need to screen any ground-mounted equipment. Oregon 211 is under ODOT's jurisdiction, and ODOT requires that applicants and developers obtain the ODOT miscellaneous permit, and so the applicant will need to obtain that permit for the pedestrian pathway tie-in. As we already discussed, they will need to revise that traffic impact analysis to include those signal calculations and then pay the proportionate share of signal construction costs. During civil review, the applicant will be required to submit separate engineering drawings reflecting the installation of public utilities. And then another, crossing the T's and dotting the I's. If conditions are not met by the light industrial park subdivision, then the applicant shall be required to dedicate the necessary row, meeting City of Molalla transportation plan, and construct the road improvements to city and ODOT standards. Finally, the applicant shall also submit turning radius templates with civil plans showing that the fire apparatus can safely ingress and egress the site without causing traffic conflicts. Every application has a little bit of special sauce, and I think that the pressure reducing valves were the special sauce on this application. The city has been having difficulties with high water pressure on the west side of town, and one of the ways to mitigate this was to install pressure reducing valves. So this is actually going to follow recommendations from the Water Management and Systems Master Plan, and 3 locations were identified for where these valves could actually be located, and this site just happened to be one of those potential locations. So the city has been in talks with the applicant on locating one of these PRVs in the northeast corner of Oregon 211 and Main Street, or in Dixon Avenue. An additional right-of-way dedication is requested to allow construction of this facility, and the applicant has been amenable to this. There was some timing concerns on the applicant's part so that they could move forward with this project, and the pressure-reducing valves have not been finalized, but the applicant has been amenable to moving forward with this, and this can be done as a modification post-public hearing. All right, based on the findings and conclusions in Exhibit A, staff hereby recommend that Planning Commission approve the consolidated U-Haul application subject to the conditions of approval found in the staff report. At this point in time, I'm happy to answer any questions Planning Commission has on the application.
I don't have a question. You guys have questions?
Maybe. This might be more of a situation like a further future proofing, but is that PRV going to go in a PRV vault? It's not going to be attached to...
It will go in its own vault, yes.
Correct.
So
Okay.
they are going to dedicate the easement area for us to actually install a public vault inside the easement.
Okay. Most, okay, yeah.
Anybody else?
I think
No?
Thank you.
I had
Thank
one
you.
other question, and I know it's part of our code, but does it really seem sensible that you have to have a bicycle rack for a storage facility?
You know, David, there's a lot of thoughts on that, and a lot of people go multiple ways on that. I will say, as a bike commuter in my college years, I have biked to self-storage facilities, but that is just our code. That's where we landed.
Of course, in Portland, it's very useful to the homeless people who rent storage units. They would love to have a place to park their bicycle, I guess.
Okay.
That,
I think
for
we're
what it's
good.
worth.
So,
Thank you.
thank you. All right. All right. All people speaking before the planning commission must state their name and address for the record. Is there any written public comment for the record? Staff? Okay. Next, I invite the applicant to present their case. Yeah, you just come up here. Yeah.
Before you begin, will you test the mic? So you might need to turn that on.
Sounded on.
Does it sound on?
I think I heard it in the speaker.
Hello? Hello?
There we go. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Kyle Campion. I'm the U-Haul company president for Portland, and includes Molalla. I appreciate everybody's time tonight, of course, to get together for this. This is something I've been looking at for a while, so it's pretty exciting to be able to help serve Molalla in this kind of way. Our objective is, with U-Haul is always to be as close to the community as we can, so it's most convenient and accessible, right? So customers and families and communities can grow and help achieve what they need to get done, right? Moving in or out of town or going to the store to grab what they need. So, whether on bike or not, of course. but that's really our objective here, and we for a long time had a presence in Molalla, and this is just in efforts to help solidify that and serve the other parts that our existing dealerships and our network hasn't been able to serve. We'll just help provide more accessibility to the truck and trailer share portion of our business, as well as the self-storage. We're really excited to make this step and get going. I mean, I'm ecstatic personally. I'm happy to answer any other questions as well.
Seems pretty straightforward for me, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you're just trying to build a facility, so.
Yeah, it's about that.
And I think, many of us are familiar with the brand, so
Yeah.
pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
Just gonna ask again for sake.
No, I'm good.
Okay, you guys good?
Yeah.
No question.
No questions at the moment, so,
Thank you.
yes, thank you. All right. Next, we invite those in support of the applicant to speak. Seeing none. I invite those opposed to the applicant to speak. Seeing none. I invite those who are neither for nor against the application to speak. No one there? I invite public agencies to comment. Oh. And I invite the applicant to present any rebuttal to the testimony. Seem to be too much there. Okay. That said, I close the public hearing for application SDR 0126, CUP 01 2026, ADJ 01 2026, and ADJ 02 2026 at 7 p.m. Is there a request to keep the record open? No. Since there's no request, now is the time for commission deliberation and discussion. Note, only questions asked of staff are allowed after the hearing is closed. Does anybody got any questions for staff or amongst ourselves? Anything we want to bring up? No. Okay. So we're going to, so do we want to do a motion to approve? Do you have any other modifications or? No?
I think it's pretty straightforward.
Okay. Yeah, I've just got to ask. Yeah. Okay. So we're going to do a motion to approve. So I move to approve SDR 01 2026, CUP 01 2026, ADJ 01 2026, and ADJ 02 2026, subject to the conditions of approval as set forth in the staff report, and to authorize the chair to sign a final decision approving above applications and incorporating the findings from the staff report. Did we get a second?
Second.
All right. Chrissy, can you call a vote?
Certainly. Commissioner Ricky,
Aye.
Commissioner Potts,
Aye.
Commissioner Ansel,
Aye.
Commissioner Sharp,
Aye.
Commissioner Ornelas,
Aye.
Chair Eaglebear.
Aye.
Thank you. Vote passes 6-0.
All right. Well, there we have it. Thank you so much.
We made that so easy.
I know.
I kept my mouth shut.
Exactly.
You too.
Mac and I stay quiet.
Yeah.
We did. Both of us. It's a victory.
Okay. Well, thank you guys again. We'll look forward to it, and we're going to continue on in our general, regularly scheduled program. So, we're moving on to our general business. It says there's none. Do we have any staff communications or updates?
Don't get to see you guys as often as I used to,
Yeah.
so wanted to give you a couple updates on the big projects still going on in town. Obviously, you know, the PD facility got wrapped up in December. The wastewater treatment plant is going along very well, and since I last saw you guys, there's been a couple of changes in the sequencing of the project that have saved the city, or projected to save the city about $2.9 million. So there was an opportunity to bring up some of the sludge removal into this first phase instead of going back out to bid and doing it in a second phase, the way that we kind of had to reposition the bid when we went out since we got no bid at first. So we worked with the subcontractor Synagro and the prime contractor Rachi, and were able to change order that, move it into phase one. So we skipped the mobilization costs, and with the added volume, we reduced the tonnage rate. So I think their tonnage rate went down about 20% on all the excess that we were going to be doing, and I would have actually expected it to be 20% higher if we had to go out to bid, because we're bidding 4 years later. But we're only counting what we actually saved, not what we might have. So that's about a $2 million resequencing savings right there. And again, that assumes that our numbers on the sludge judge were correct, which are scientific wild guesses. That's the reality of sludge
Right.
judging. So if the numbers on what we expected in sludge are what we expected them to be, we'll save about $2 million. If they're higher than that, then we'll have enough money to pay to remove all the sludge still. So either way, it's a victory. The other thing is that working with that same subcontractor, we actually have updated or in the process of updating our biosolids management plan to include land application, because the way it was bid is that they were going to haul it all to like one of the 3 places in the state that takes biosolids, and that's like a 3-hour drive, I think. It's way out east somewhere. So by doing the land application, we're able to save a ton in trucking costs and disposal costs, which those savings get passed in large part back to the city. The contractor will experience some of those savings as well, but the vast majority of them get passed back to the city. So we're thinking that's going to be roughly $250,000 in savings there. So, and then thirdly, we have an application into the, they call it community project funding. It's federal dollars with our federal representative, Janelle Bynum, and we moved into committee on that, which is good. That means it's progressed into committee, really. The next step is whether the committee sends it forward to be in the big funding bill or not. We don't know how that will go, but there's progress on it, and so that would provide another about $380,000 to be able to add back in a couple of the coverings for like the headworks that were removed as part of the rebid process as well, without costing the taxpayers in Molalla any more money. So those are all big wins, and we're at about 60% construction. Things are looking good down there. They're down there just saccreting away every single day, all day. I'm like, whoa, they do all of that with that? So, wow, okay. But yeah, so they've been doing that for about 2 weeks, and probably have another week left at least. But the equalization basin is all poured. The SBR is largely poured. I mean, we're mostly done with concrete work. The control building is pretty much up. There's some electrical still to go in, and then some of the furniture, fixtures, and equipment that goes in there needs to go in still. But it by and large is up and done. The biosolids processing equipment, the screw press and that sort of stuff is all in. That stuff's pretty neat. If you guys get a chance, get in touch with me or and I'll put you in touch with Seth to go do a tour down there. It's pretty interesting stuff. If you have a taste for that sort of thing, it's really kind of neat. Those screw presses, it's just basically like a giant jet engine, except for you take out the rotors and you put in a twisty screw press. More or less, it's a jet engine. It's kind of interesting. So, so that project's moving along well, and had some good things to report there. The water intake project, we're at just nearing 30% design right now. We did get approved for $1.092 million in federal funding for that project, so we were able to offset about 20% of project costs so far. We'll continue to apply for things as they come available. But over the last 2 weeks, I've had to spend at least an hour a day going through EPA trainings just to be able to access the grant funding. There's probably 15 hours of trainings that I have to do. Luckily, if we get another EPA grant, since I've done them within 5 years, we won't have to do them again. But I have to go through all these trainings, and there's 5. It's kind of crazy. I got to tell someone. There are, I kid you not, 5 computer platforms that you have to be in, registered, and like have all the stuff set up right to access federal funding. 5 of them. There's ID Me, so that you can prove your identity when you go in to log into a particular site.
Of course.
But there's login.gov, which does the exact same thing, but one site only accepts ID Me, and the other site only accepts login.gov. So you gotta be on both of them. So I've been on login.gov, in my capacity for years. ID Me, I've always only had my personal capacity to get like the veterans deals and that sort of stuff that's out there. So now I had to switch that. Anyways, so that's 2. Then you have to be on the EPA's grant portal. Then you have to also be on SAM. That's the Systems for Award Management for the federal government, right? So you have to be on SAM. You have to be on the EPA's grant website, and then you have to make sure your SAM is registered in the EPA's website. So you have to have the proper permissions in SAM to register it in here. And then to get into the Treasury's portal to be able to access repayment when it comes time to start submitting bills and getting money, you have to have, that's why you need the ID me, then you have to sign up for that one. So I kid you not when I say you have to be signed up and integrated into 5 platforms. It's government efficiency at its finest. So, but anyways, sorry, I didn't mean to bore you with all that.
No,
It's blown my mind, and I have to tell people because it's crazy. But yeah, so we're getting real close to be able to access that financing, or not financing, those grant funds, so that we don't have to use financing. Of course, we'll use the financing last because interest doesn't start to accrue on it until we start to draw on it. So right now, we had already encumbered some funds from the water capital fund in order to be able to start design and get some grants out and find the loans and do the things we needed to do. So the project's fully funded. It's just a matter of how much are we going to be able to offset in, grant funding or forgiveness in order to offset the project cost to the public a little bit more. So, but going well. So that's my big updates. Does anyone have any questions on projects or anything? All right.
No, but I feel your struggle on the websites. I know. It's a nightmare.
And it's not like you log in like you do on, you get on I just got on the Zen app so I could get the rewards. That took 2 minutes. I press, log in with Google and I'm done.
Yeah.
That's not what this is.
No.
You got to send your ID. You got to wait for them to check that. You got to send the papers of incorporation for the city. You got to send, it is lunacy. Anyway,
I feel it.
hours.
Yeah.
I understand that.
I will chime in and say that anyone who's ever had to work on that SAM's website, they want your firstborn, your blood type, and throw in a kidney and anybody else's kidney while you're at it. It's one of the most intensive checks I think I've ever come across, and borderline ridiculous.
Well, and it's so, mentally grating. I think you could make it through SEAL training afterwards if you could get it's just.
Wow. Well, yeah, I don't have any other questions. Can't think of anything else. Oh, how's the growth boundary?
Oh, the UGB. I will. Well, you want to talk about this one, or you want me to go?
You can go.
She just got back from Taiwan, so she probably.
Oh, okay.
So I think Mr. Zinder gave you guys a bit of an update last meeting. That's kind of where we are, but we were able to get the schedule completely dialed in to the point where we're feeling more confident because we were dealing with Clackamas County has some extended timelines that they needed, like 6 months at the end of this thing, and no one, I think, anticipated that kind of a timeline. We lost about 3 months at the beginning of this Goal 14 analysis by waiting for the grant scope to be approved and go back and forth and all that good stuff. But I think we've dialed it in now to where we're going to get in there under the wire, get what we need to get done with the Goal 14 analysis and all that good stuff. So there'll be more information coming your way as it comes in. It's just
cool.
They're doing the analyses right now. So.
Right on. Okay.
I had a question. Where is it that we're thinking about doing a URA?
The urban renewal, the urban renewal expansion that they're working on right now is just to include so if you, I'm going to show you on the map. I'm a pointer. So
That's what I needed on a map.
right. So we're on Kennel here. Where am I?
You're over
Way
here.
over here. Okay. So we're on Kennel here, and then you've got the fire department right here. The fire department, and actually this stuff's all fire department too.
Right.
This stuff's already in the URA here. The fire department also owns these lots, and that I think they purchased after the URA boundaries was put in place, or
Okay.
I don't know. Somehow it didn't get included. Don't quote me on that first one. I don't know. But just adding the fire department property in full, so it's all in there. That's all they're looking to do.
Oh, okay.
All right. Cool. Great.
Good.
Anything?
I got nothing.
No?
Nothing.
Don't forget to register for the parade. We're gonna have to restrict it this year because we figure we'll have a really large amount of people want to be there with it being the 250th celebration.
And a Saturday.
Yeah, so we're gonna restrict, I think we're gonna stop last year I think we had 70. I think we won't go over 80 because You know,
Just
we
the
did, we didn't
time.
get the parade completely out and going. And I mean, it starts at 9:30, going, you know, behind the run, and the last person left the grounds for the parade at 11 o'clock.
Oh, my God.
So it doesn't get over till 1-ish, you
It
know.
was a
so,
long time last year.
Yeah, and it was
Yeah, it
pretty,
was-
maybe we should stop it at 70.
Something, because, I mean,
Yeah.
contain kids on Main Street for 2 hours before the parade gets there. It's kind of a nightmare. I'm not gonna lie. You know,
Imagine candy being thrown out there.
no, it's just the city because you got to get there because the street's shut down. So you got to wait before the parade starts. So it was literally 2.5 hours before the first person crossed in front of us.
Well, we got delayed last year because the run got
Yeah.
messed up. So,
But,
and this year
yeah.
it might again because they're staging it from a different spot. The run's going to start at Monash Church instead of the football field because they're starting the turf thing there at the
Mhm.
football field, so they can't do the run.
No.
So it's going to be a little different.
Have the
this
run
year.
start sooner.
Well, I'm not in control of the run. I just do the parade.
Just make a suggestion.
Yeah.
It's a good problem to have, though.
Yeah.
The parade, I mean, it's that popular. It's cool.
It's
Yeah.
a wonderful parade, yeah.
Yep. Cool.
I have nothing.
Sam?
I have nothing to update,
Nothing?
nothing major. I can't follow what Mac just said too. I mean, oh my goodness.
Gosh, we have a planning commission seat open, don't forget. And we also opened for the elections for city council, officially open today.
Oh, wow.
So folks need to make an appointment with me.
And is there openings?
There are 3 council seats expiring. They are councilors Leota Childress, Terry Schenkel, and Casey Vicinius.
And only Casey is eligible to run again, correct?
That is correct.
Because the others have expired, right? They've had many
They've
terms.
served 8 years they've each served 8 years as elected at the end of this year.
Yeah.
Councilor Childress has served almost 11 years because she was appointed before
Right.
she was elected, so she's one of our longest
Yeah.
serving. It's pretty great.
Wow. Well, my only update, of course, is the school. They are framing like mad. They're lifting trusses and building roofs, and I think they're put the floor trusses in on the north side of the building. So I think that's what. And then, but yeah, I mean, they're just trucking along. And and they're starting. They've already started. They've put in starting facilities for the road on Lynn Lane. So they've dug it all up. I think they put in piping for the fire hydrant, it looks like.
Yeah, a little bit of the fire hydrant. They're going to start working on the storm here shortly.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Yep. So that's getting all dug up and trucking along.
Between that industrial development that U-Haul is just going into and that school, that whole section of town's
You know, brand
gonna
new.
look brand new.
Yeah, yeah.
It's
It'll look pretty crazy. But yeah. Yeah, it's coming along. Will be of my updates for the next couple of years. So. At least until they go inside.
You got a front row seat.
I got to talk about a sewer plant for a couple of years.
Yeah. Once all the trades go inside, I don't know what they're doing. I hear them.
And they have to use 6 different computer programs to.
It's way harder.
So it's pretty exciting to see it, especially someone who's in the construction fields. So, other than that, I don't have anything else. Anybody got any last minute thoughts?
Nope.
If there, so officially, is there anything else for the good of the order? All right. Seeing nothing, I then adjourn this meeting at 7:19 p.m.
You guys are efficient.